Okay. Hey, Joe.
Jerry, how are you?
Good. Good to see you. So let's start from the very beginning of your life. Tell us a little bit about your childhood, where you grew up, and how you ended up in New York.
I grew up in Rochester, New York, upstate, the second of four boys. I had an older brother, two younger brothers. Went to school in Rochester, went to high school there, and then came down to the Bronx. I went to Fordham undergrad in 1969, graduated 73. Met my wife the first weekend of senior year. She transferred in as a junior, a year behind me, and I met her the first weekend, and we've now been married for 45 years. And went to NYU Law School and have practiced in Westchester since graduation in 76.
Okay. And how long have you been the judge here in Hastings, Joe?
Since 88, 16 years as the acting judge, now called associate justice, and 16 years as elected, and I just got reelected again, so I'm in my 17th year as the elected judge in town.
I heard there's a recount.
Yeah, he ran unopposed, so I don't think we have a problem there. Okay, so tell us a little bit about, your introduction to music and when did that start and what did you do about it?
Well, everybody in my family played something. I played the piano. I was probably the one who played the most. I took lessons from second grade to 12th grade and really liked playing music a lot. When I was in elementary school, the nun approached me and asked me to play the string bass as well because they needed one for the band, and she said, "I'll give you free lessons if you play if you contribute the bass." So I did, and I loved playing the string bass, the old upright one, for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Didn't keep that up, but I still play the piano. I always sit down and use the piano when I'm learning Chordsman music. I don't play it as much as I'd like to because if I have any free time, I'm using it to sing now, which is fine. But it's always been important to me. My mom played the piano when my dad died. She took it up again and was playing it right until the end when she passed. So it was really
That's
nice.
great. So it's a family tradition then.
Yeah.
Which is great. So you're playing the piano, you're not playing so much. So could you tell us how you got exposed to the courseman and why you decided to join?
It's a fun story, and it shows the importance of what we do. Joanne and I and the four kids went down to the botanical gardens because we were members, and we got invited to go to the train show at the beginning of the season when members only kind of night. And it turns out that's when the Chordsman used to introduce the beginning of the holiday season at the gardens. And we left the conservatory planning to go to Arthur Avenue for dinner. And we heard this 4-part harmony. And we, immediately we made a beeline for it because it sounded so good. And we were there. We saw these guys with the scarves and the hats and everything singing 4-part harmony, and we loved it. It was great. Went to dinner, and next month was Christmas, and my daughter Katie, who's my second, gives me for a gift an application and a CD from the Chordsman. She had quietly spoken to Scott Coleman and gotten his card, and she communicated with him after we left. So without my knowing, she did all this, and she was singing at the time in college, and she said to me, "You got to do this for yourself. This is great." And she kept after me. And about 11 months later, in November, I finally finished some trials I was working on and went down one Monday night to Highland School in White Plains, where we were rehearsing at the time, walked in, and who turns around but Alan Ferris, and he says, "Hi, welcome." It turns out he's the membership guy. So he sits down, talks to me, puts me on the stage, and tells me to sing lead, and just to try it out. And I did. And I said I wanted to learn how to sing harmony. And he said, "All right," he tried my voice out, and he put me in with the baritones, and I've been with the baritones ever since. it's so funny. Jeremiah, I almost walked out that night. I looked at these 40 guys on the stage and I said, how am I going to fit 40 more names into my life? It's such a busy life as it is. And I almost walked out. I said, let me give it a try. And
well, we're glad you did, Joe. So you talk about harmony and you talk about you start as a lead, you turn into a baritone. Let's segue into that. And I know there's something that's dear to your heart as your friend for many years, is the New England Harmony Brigade. So there might be some people that know about it, and especially just, mention some of the things you did in 2018, which were quite amazing.
Joe Dempsey would twist all our arms and say, you got to try the Harmony Brigade. And I'm so glad he did. It's a real exercise. You learn 12 songs by heart. You have to know them word perfect and music perfect. And then you go for a weekend away. And there's about a good dozen of us in the chorus who do this. It's been a lot of fun. You go there, you get tested as to whether or not you really know this stuff. And if you do, you can sing with the whole chorus of about 120 guys on Saturday night for a public show, which is great because the quality of the singing is tremendous. Everybody knows the parts. You have 12 different directors who have about 5 minutes to teach you. It's a tremendous opportunity, and you get exposed to all these good singers. And part of the fun is they toss you in with a random quartet on Friday evening. You get an hour to rehearse, and then you have to compete with the song. And then they pick the top 10 and they compete again Saturday night. On 2018, I was lucky to be tossed in with a good group, and it turns out we came in first that year. But probably the highlight for me was just being there with OC Times. They were the guest quartet for the weekend, and they were terrific. They're very talented guys, and I'm going to show you one of their songs tonight. And they started Friday night. They said, we're going to have some fun. We're going to pick the guest quartet. And I thought they were going to imitate famous barbershop quartet singers. But instead, they got up and wandered around the room. And the baritone came over to me and put his hands on my shoulders. And they picked out the 4 voices they wanted to hear together, which was such a treat. And then we got up there and we sang this guest quartet, their dream quartet. So it was a weekend I'll never duplicate, and it's a weekend that I'll never forget. It was great.
Yeah, that's great, Joe. Thanks for that. So yeah, I know that you're very involved in the Chordsman, and you do a lot for them. But how many members have you actually recruited to join the Chordsman? I mean, this is quite the story, I think.
There's 3. They're all great. Right now, I'm happy to know there's 3 of my buddies from Hastings that are there. You, my good friend for about almost 40 years. We've been friends a long time. We met when our 2 oldest were in like toddlers in the playground, and now they're going to be 40 next year, the 2 of them. So there's you, Eric Blicker, my neighbor across the street. He brought in Michael Katz, a good friend of his, and Bob Sedelli. Bob and I were at a party together, and I was talking about this, and he knew how excited I was, how much I liked the Chordsman, and so he joined, and he's making significant contributions now. So I'm happy. I brought in other people who haven't lasted, but you guys have seen the wisdom of the Chordsman way.
Thanks, Joe.
Happy to report that.
And sure, Bob Sedelli has done quite a bit, hasn't he? He's amazing. And for the final question is how has your membership with the Chordsman increased the quality of your life, Joe? If it has at all. You got to throw that a curveball in here once in a while,
It is a fabulous hobby. Great group of guys. I love the discipline of it, the memorization and all that. I think it keeps your mind sharp, and just the exercise of singing physically is very rewarding. But the best part is just the community. It's a great community of people. Really, really nice. What can you do? What can you do better? And instead of criticizing, it's you know, how can we be better? So it's a positive group. Love you all. Thank you all.
Okay, Joe, and thank you, and thank for all you've done for the Chordsman, and especially recruiting me. I love it. Thanks.
Thank you, Jeremiah. See you around.
Yep. Back to
Great
you.
job, Judge.
All right.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and definitely, yeah, I kept bugging Joe, like, so when am I going to learn how to sing? When am I going to learn how to sing? The Ready, Set, Sing.
Through Ready, Set, Sing, right, Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All
That was
right.
great.